Welcome! Today we're going to talk about updating IP cameras. You may remember from last week we discussed how to initially configure an IP camera. Continuing with our IP camera theme, now we're going to discuss how to update them. Now this video won't just apply to IP cameras. This will also apply to any Pelco IP device that has firmware which can be updated. Now, one of the things that I'd like to clear up, because we hear it often on the phone, there is a difference between a firmware versus a software upgrade. A software upgrade is typically a software that sits on top of an operating system, like Digital Century. However, a firmware upgrade is actually the operating system that runs the device. So let's get into updating a camera. Now today's test camera is going to be a D6230. That is the Spectra Enhanced camera. So let's grab the firmware for it. We're going to go to Products, we're going to go to Cameras, PTZ Cameras, and then we're going to go to Spectra Enhanced. Now all of our firmware upgrades as well as software upgrades can be found on the corresponding product page of our site. Once there, click on the Downloads and Resources option. On the left-hand side, click on Firmware. It will automatically display the most recent version, in this case for the Spectra Enhanced, that is version 2.11.07. Click Download to begin downloading the firmware. You can choose to save it to any location you choose. I recommend the desktop just to make it easy to find. Now once downloaded, the next step is we need to extract the file. So we can just right click on it, select Extract All, accept the default location which will put it on the desktop. Once extracted, we can see that we have both the release notes and the ppm file. The ppm is our firmware update. With the firmware now downloaded and extracted, we're ready to run Pelco utilities. If we take a look at the top, we can see it is set to IP camera mode. Now, just a quick note on IP camera mode. What happens is if Pelco Utilities detects an SM on the network, it will ask for a login. If we click cancel at that login, it will not allow firmware updates. The reason why is it notices that there is authentication available and it will force you to authenticate before updates can be performed. Also, on that same thing, if a DX4700 or 4800 is also present on the network, it will detect that as an SM. For the purposes of updating, that will need to be disabled or unplugged from the network before we will be able to proceed with the software update. Now keep in mind, we either have to be in IP camera mode or we have to authenticate with an SM in order to perform software updates using Pelco utilities. Once we have verified that we are in IP camera mode or we've been authenticated, we can now load the firmware update to Pelco utilities. To do that, we go to Software Packages, click Add. In this case, we're going to go to our desktop. We're going to select the Spectra Enhanced Firmware folder and then the firmware ppm file inside and click Open. Now what this has done, this has permanently loaded it to Pelco Utilities. We can now safely delete it from our desktop and we'll always have it available for any other Spectra Enhanced cameras that may need to be updated. Okay, so now that the ppm is loaded, we're going to go over to System Devices. From there, we're going to go and double click our Spectra or the D6230. Then we're going to right click on it and we're going to select Device Actions. From Device Actions, we're going to go to Update. Now, because we've already loaded the Spectra Enhanced firmware, the system already knows what we're looking for and begins the update process. So now we just wait until that process completes. With the update now complete, the camera is now ready to go. Now this message here is just a notification that it can take some time for the camera to come back up once the process has been done. The max wait time that could be expected is 15 minutes, but typically the camera is up and recording before that time. Once the camera is back up, we can go back into Pelco Utilities, select the camera, and under version, we can see it has now been updated to the latest. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe. And remember, at Pelco, we've got it all covered.